We are back here on Carolina Women with Erin at Lava Fitness. We have been joined by our friend Cathy Ulmer.
Yes.
From Ulmer's Pharmacy.
Fresh off 270.
Oh,
Exactly.
yes.
Well, which brings us to our discussion today, which is we're talking about stress and anxiety and what's going on at the pharmacy.
Driving here.
Well, you handled it well. You kind of unwound from that quickly.
I did. I had to do like a thing. Yeah, like to bring yourself back down to like, okay, you know, like when you get all excited or you get angry or you get emotional, different hormones in your body are triggered, which causes stress or anxiety. So what can we do to
Decompress.
that?
you know? And I think we talked a little bit about the physical part of it. So breathing, yoga, things like that, just kind of.
Exactly, and we know why. We know that when you do deep breathing, it pushes against your vagus nerve if you pull your belly to spine, and that HPA axis, that gets your hypothalamus, your adrenals,
That it
right?
gets everything kind of flowing better.
Exactly.
It opens you up.
That's
in a
exactly
way,
right.
An easy kind of like way to think about it, and it also increases those hormones like norepinephrine and dopamine that are kind of your happy hormones, which we see a lot in like medications. So if you're taking antidepressants, they either affect your norepinephrine, your dopamine, or your serotonin.
Right.
So, you know, as we were talking earlier, we want a healthy combination of that physical and possibly, you know, that pharmaceutical side of it.
Exactly.
But balancing the two together.
Yeah, we talked a lot. We were talking about it because as a psychologist and you with the medicine piece of it, the gold standard is you can't have one without the other. You've got to do the hard work.
Yes.
But don't you, talk about the medicine as
Well, because we were talking earlier about sleep. So everybody has issues sleeping, but what we don't realize is there's a lot that goes into sleep training. So when people get prescribed things like Ambien or melatonin and things like that, they're not going to long term. You won't be able to stop taking it. You're not going to cure it. You're just kind of putting a Band-Aid on it.
Right.
And so while you take those medications, doing things like, okay, at 8 o'clock, I'm gonna turn everything off. I'm gonna turn the lights down. I'm gonna take a bath.
Sleep hygiene.
Take my phone out of the room.
Take your phone out, all your electronics, and just kind of like turning it down and giving yourself time to do that before you decide to go to sleep. So a lot of times with melatonin, it's a supplement. We all have it in our body. A lot of us are low in it. But if you don't, you want your body to see a surge of melatonin when you're ready to go to sleep.
Correct.
If you surge your melatonin while you're still like, your body doesn't understand that when your melatonin surges, you should be asleep.
Isn't melatonin suprachiasmatic nerve and then it tells your body it's time to go to sleep?
Right, so so it does, but if you start training your body that when you have a surge in melatonin, like you take it orally and you don't go to sleep, your body starts to like not trigger that correctly.
So how long does that take? Is it like anything, a couple weeks of doing it?
Well, the training, 30 days.
I usually say 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And you just stick with it?
Yeah,
as
just
a
trying to stick
routine?
with it, you know. But that's the hard part, because some of us, like, even with dinner, if you don't eat earlier and get your gut stopped working, your body's not going to shut down, you know, and go into bed earlier and things like that. Giving yourself more time to go to bed, things like that.
Does gut health tie into sleeping?
It does. I mean, gut health, we're finding more and more, and I saw the change in the time I've been in pharmacy. We used to be like, oh yeah, take your antibiotics, have a nice day. Now every time we give an antibiotic, we give probiotics. We give things to help gut health, because we're really finding that your gut, which is kind of where everything's absorbed. So if it's unhealthy, you're not going to get the good nutrition. You're not going to have the good bacteria to break down your nutrition. You're not going to get the absorption into your bloodstream, because everything goes through the gut and into the bloodstream. So things like that can be, life-changing.
One of the things I think you shared with me that is really important for people who are on SSRIs are 80% of your serotonin receptors are in your gut. So aren't they finding that things like IBS symptoms, a lot of gut symptoms go away when you can get that regulated?
Yes, a lot of that does. So like in the fact that your gut has most of your receptors already in it. So a lot of the receptors that we trigger with medications are in your gut. So again, like if you can increase serotonin in your gut, that irritable bowel syndrome with the serotonin, which she's referring to, the SSRIs, that surge can help decrease, that. So there's just so many ways, but going about gut health and eating good and eating healthy, replenishing with prebiotics and probiotics, and just kind of keeping the status quo will help your body
How do we
absorb.
measure dosing though for things like that? Because I will order things like Amazon Prime, and then I'm like, oh, well, how do I know what I'm taking?
Yeah, real quickly because we're
Yeah.
out of time.
Yeah, pre and probiotics, you just have to, again, like focus on what your goal is and look for something that encompasses that.
That makes so much sense. It's
I
always
love
a
it.
treat. I know we get going and then we want to get going. Cathy Ulmer, thank you so much for joining us. Stay with us. A lot more to come here on Carolina Women and Lava Fitness.